Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Records Show. Today we have a very special guest coming straight from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He's an amazing pianist, composer, arranger, musician, you name it. Just like many of us, he was unsure of what to study at Berklee. And after playing piano for bands around Boston, as well as Berklee College of Music campus, he decided to form his own band and play original music. Today, we're going to be discussing what led him to study contemporary writing and production at Berklee. Not only that, but also exclusive insights on his creative process, forming a band, and how it is to arrange, compose, and produce his original music. So please welcome Edu Heredia. Edu, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I'm so happy that I could talk to you because when I thought about who am I interviewing next, I thought about you because you're my friend, but I feel like I don't know enough about you. And I feel like a lot of people don't know enough about you, so it's a perfect opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much. Man. It's my honor to be here.
Especially because now you're working on so many projects and I feel like you have so many important things to say. So let's get right into it.
Great. Yeah.
So you got here to Berklee.
Mm-hmm.
The same time I did, which was like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Goes by fast.
Yeah, I know. And you came here as a piano player.
I did. Yeah.
And now you are studying contemporary writing and production.
Mm-hmm.
And you're working on your own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you have your own album and everything in progress. So I want to start by asking you, because I know that you're working on a new album.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to actually first focus on how did you came to realize this is what you want to do? Because for me, it was kind of out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always saw you playing the piano for others, and I was like, hey, I think that's what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then for me, it was out of nowhere. Oh yeah, I'm
Like
working on an album.
Sudden shift. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, how did that idea came to you?
So, growing up, I, of course, listened to a lot of Brazilian music, especially because of my parents. And when I got here, I don't know if it was missing home. I just got into a lot of Brazilian stuff, and especially with the guitar and that style of playing. And yeah, I came up here playing piano, and I still plan to play piano for gigs and stuff, and continue working with that. But yeah, definitely my focus definitely shifted towards that side of music for me, at least. It started with me just learning Tom Jobim and João Gilberto songs in the guitar, and then I started to maybe want to start writing stuff. And over last summer, I really delved into deep into the guitar and that style of composition, and yeah, I came up with some 2 songs within that style that basically jump started this whole new project. And yeah, and it's been on the works since last fall. We started just rehearsing and figuring out what the sound was gonna be like, and then yeah, it was a very gradual process.
Yeah.
The album, I just I as I wrote stuff that I liked, I would bring them to the wonderful people that I can work with. Tom, Vitorino, Sam, Carol. They're just a wonderful band, and they really I owe a lot to them, because I feel like the sound really comes from their interpretation of it as well.
Yeah.
From the music. So yeah, I don't know if I made a lot of sense what I said, but
yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah,
And
it was a very gradual thing, and very collaborative. Even though I'm the one who's writing, it's very collaborative, the space of it all.
That's what I was gonna ask you. So how does it work? You are writing and arranging your own songs.
Yeah.
And you're asking your friends to record different instruments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all play, especially the rhythm section. We've been capturing them all playing together, so that they they are really like communicating with each other, and that like transfer to the music.
So it's like very
You know,
organic.
very organic. Yeah, like all the album is all like live recorded. There nothing, not recorded at the same time, but like all organic instruments and arrangements. Yeah.
And who's producing?
Producing. I'm working with Anthony and Bruno, especially. These two are my main guys on this project, and they're just amazing to work with. Yeah.
So I see that you are working on this album with your friends, and I've talked to many people before, and there's many times people prefer to separate friendship from the job. How would you feel like? I mean, for you, I think it's the way around. Like, you really like working with your friends. How would you feel like that affects the friendship or the work, or how does that like mechanism work for you?
Yeah, like for me it's all about like music. At the end of the day, it's all about like sharing and just sharing passion at the end of the day. So if I'm with my friends and we are not specifically because they're my friends, they are like I'm very proud of the people that are working on this project, because I feel like they really understand like the kind of music that I want to bring about, and they make that happen in the most beautiful way. I'm very grateful for them. But what was I gonna say is that like the fact that they are my friends make, you know, the situation of rehearsals and recordings very like comfortable, and very there's a lot of room to try something that's I don't know, like out of the ordinary, or speak to each other in a way that is not, you know, it doesn't have to follow a format, because, you know, we all know each other. And
like if people are more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's just more chill about it, and about like the whole process of everything. So it's just like even though it's all for a professional context, like the fact that they're my friends make it like just us all having a great time while we work on music, which is all I can ask for, to be honest.
And that's like such like an amazing thing to hear, that like you're able to create something beautiful with your friends. And I want to ask you more about like your creative process. Like, how, like, do you sit down, you write the songs alone, and you do everything alone, and then you show them to your friends? And in some way, when you're writing, I do believe like anyone could just be like very vulnerable, right? Because you express your emotions. And so I feel like also because you're around your friends, it's just kind of like more chill, you know? But just tell me more about your creative process.
So it all comes from like the guitar, since piano is my main instrument, and you know, it's the one that I've been playing like the most, and for all my life. I feel like I will only play how I know how to play, you know. I'll never it'll be harder for me to like do something or create something that it's new for me, you know, if that makes sense. With the guitar, especially how different it is to the piano in terms of like visualizing music. You know, the piano, you have everything laid out right in front of you, but on the guitar, I just feel more comfortable like exploring. And I'm really when I make music on the guitar, like the harmony of it all, I really just think about drawing. It's all about like painting, like with shapes and stuff like that, because the guitar really allows that kind of thinking, in my perspective. Yeah,
that is really interesting.
Yeah, but like bringing it over to you know, to the band, which I have to say, like the name of the album, of the whole project is Edu y Amigos, Edu and Friends, because of their whole like collaboration in the process. But continuing, I just bring it to them. I always have some kind of like, okay, just direction of how like the groove will be, but all the directions I give, if there are not like specific hits or lines, you know, that they have to do, I leave a lot up to their musicality.
I see. But you also write the lyrics as well,
Yeah,
right?
I like the lyrics as well, or in Portuguese.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. It's good that you said the name. We should have said that in the beginning.
No, it's so
um,
good.
but do you have a release date for the album,
Hmm.
or is it still undecided?
It's still, I wouldn't say it's undecided, because there's a still, we've done a lot, but there's still a lot to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know, recording wise. So I really, since this is something very like close and dear to me, all of the compositions in the album are very special. I want them to be fully brought out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the best way that it can. So I would like to release a single or two by the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going as it goes. Like want to have it done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But also having the maturity to like know when to push and when not to. So everything goes naturally and flows in the best way possible.
Yeah, I see.
Hmm.
Given I see that you mentioned that you are very inspired by Brazilian composers.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, what would you say, like, when are you most inspired to write?
To
What
write.
is you what is there something specific that inspires you a lot? When does that inspiration come? I'm curious.
Hmm. I don't know. It's just like me sitting. I have to be alone to write. Like
Okay.
that's one thing. But it usually comes from like things that I've been thinking about, or like stages of my life that I've been through. Um, they usually fall under that kind of line of thinking, and it's literally just me sitting on my bed, like trying to come up with chords.
Yeah.
I always do the harmony first, so it's all
Oh.
about the guitar first, the guitar and the rhythm, and then I mumble like the melody, and then try to make the lyrics fit that. But it's all
Mm-hmm.
there isn't any real rhyme or reason to my style of writing. Sometimes I have the idea for lyrics walking down the street. Sometimes I only have the idea when I'm like playing and like actively trying to write. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
it just comes, and you know there's this phrase of like, oh, when inspiration comes, may it like get me working. So I always try to like be ready for like any ideas to like put them out, and like before I forget them, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been when I was in high school, I used to write a lot of songs. And sometimes I'd be like in the weirdest situations, I would just pull the voice memo, be like,
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so like I totally get that. I
Hmm.
totally get that. And I see that you are now focusing more on like guitar and singing.
Hmm.
So you would say even though you're here as a piano main instrument,
Hmm.
you have kind of like gotten more away from the piano. Would you say that you like more the guitar now, and how does that work?
I feel like with the introduction of guitar and like songwriting in like as part of my I don't know if skill set is the word, but uh, just like reality here,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I feel like I've not moved away from the piano in a way, because I still use like the piano, as I said, is a great way to visualize music,
I see.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm arranging, I don't even touch the guitar. Like it's all about the piano, so I can you know write it like very in a very like easier way than
Yeah.
trying to write in the guitar, because
Right.
I don't know the instruments. I have some idea of like, because of like chords and shapes and stuff, but it's nowhere as near as my like level
Knowledge.
of knowledge on the piano when it comes to like building
I see.
and arranging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool that you like kind of use the piano first to kind of like get situated, and then use the guitar to Yeah, because it's I feel like it's both of them are beautiful instruments, but they have a different vibe many
No,
times.
yeah, no, like, uh, I still wanna play piano as
Mm-hmm.
much as I can, and cause like you only I feel like uh you only write as good as you understand music,
Mm-hmm.
or not, but I feel like that's at least my reality. Like I've only been able to write more complex like harmonies and stuff the more I've learned about music. Not not in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to do a sub 5 here or a contiguous, and I'm not like
Uh-huh.
even speaking in those terms. It's just I don't know, you become more exposed to more complex and more challenging
Mm-hmm.
ideas, and then if you really ingrain yourself into them and like allow them to be part of your musical vocabulary, like when you transfer that to songwriting, in my experience, it's just seamless. You don't
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing until like I take it to the piano and like
Uh-huh.
I visualize it afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that you mention music theory,
Hmm.
I'd say like that is, would you say, because now here at Berkeley we do have this like advanced classes on like music theory and you have tonal. To what
Mm-hmm.
extent do you feel like those classes are actually being effective on what you're doing with your
Mm-hmm.
album?
With my album, definitely the harmony classes that I've had. I was lucky to get like great professors in my
Mm-hmm.
in my harmony lessons. So it's sorry, I'm just thinking about it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if the classes had if like a direct effect like to the music that I write, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely like increases my vocabulary and makes me understand and pursue more
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, to really ingratiate myself with those concepts. If
I
that
see.
makes
I
sense.
see.
Hmm.
And when you first got here, I remember they like talking to you. I feel like we had that in common. Like we came here and we're like, oh, like I don't know what we want to study. Like there's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that we were even considering doing like music education or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
I was heavily considering that, and I
Yeah.
still want to be a teacher. Like I think all musicians, at some point in their lives, they're gonna, not even in a formal teacher student setting,
Yeah.
but they're gonna like uh pass down their knowledge in a way. I feel like that's part of the cycle.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
thought about it that way. But I did also consider that because I just thought, like, when I was a kid and I used to go to, like, my singing lessons, that was the best time of the week. You know,
Yeah.
it was better than the weekends, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So it's like, wow, I want to really be able to kind of, like, provide that to other kids as well. So it's good to know that I was actually going to ask you if you would consider continue because you did give lessons in the past, right?
Yeah, like I had this deal with I don't know if this is legal or not, but I've had this deal with a guy called Ramon, who was the owner slash manager of this gym that I used to go to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and it was a very great gym. They had like boxing equipment because that at
Mm-hmm.
that time I was still doing boxing stuff, uh, but it was like pretty hefty price,
I see.
and I was like, there's nothing that I can do to like make it a little bit like just cut it
A
down a
little
little
bit
bit,
chipper.
because it was like a private, like a very small private gym,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that you had, like it was a great place. And so he said, oh, you go to Berkeley and you play the piano, right? And I was like, yeah, so you can teach my son piano. I was like, done. And it was like
Perfect.
just this exchange of like actions that they led me to teach. It was, we would go through his like piano book and learn lessons and try
Mm-hmm.
to like get the two hands working. It was very 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 simple, but it's such a magical experience to like see someone be amazed by music, you know, like
Yeah.
learning like new stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Especially
my experience.
yeah. Especially when you're a kid and you have school and all of that, and then you kind of like it's just kind of like an escape in a
Mm-hmm.
way. I
Yeah.
don't know. I felt like it was
Yeah.
like that when
Oh
I was
yeah,
a kid.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and so what led you ultimately? Because we were both like, oh, okay, so like, what should we study? You know, there's so many options. What led you to be like, contemporary and writing and production is my
Mm-hmm.
thing?
Yeah, because after you know considering doing music education, I don't know what I was, because I don't remember like very well if it was a direct jump to CWP or if there was like a limbo period, but
Mm.
definitely like I've started to pay closer attention to the music that I was already listening to by like Tom Jobim, João Gilberto, and I started
Mhm.
listening to like Dori Caymmi, uh, a lot of like Javan stuff. Like
Mhm.
his music is amazing, like very well arranged, especially Dori Caymmi. I'm like colossal arranger in Brazilian music, and I really wanted to like be able to express myself in that way as well,
Mm,
and
I see.
work with that as well, like because I feel like one of the coolest parts for arranging, in my opinion, is just like the amount of musicians that you get to like collaborate with, and the amount of people you get to like share a space for music with, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like yeah, I think that's the coolest part, and seeing like everybody, you know, especially since the stuff that I do is mostly like uh,
Mhm.
organic instruments, um, is just seeing like that many people being brought together for a common objective, which is to like
Mhm.
experience and you know, produce music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see like that like connection
Uh huh.
between other people is like
Mm-hmm.
very important for you.
Yeah, and then there's the
Yeah.
simple stuff that like writing for a bunch of instruments makes something like sound so
Yeah.
huge is like super cool as well.
Yeah. It is very
It's
cool.
just cool. It's just cool. I feel like it's cool. So
Oh, I
yeah,
really do believe. And like, oh, but do you want to be like those kind of people that are like
conducting.
conductors? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I do admire a lot conductors. How
Mm.
they do the stuff with both hands. I'm like, what?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that is crazy stuff. Like I'm doing like the core conduction classes here at Berkeley,
Mhm.
and yeah, I've been learning a lot, but I don't know if
If
an
that's
orchestral setting is what I'm
I
really
see.
uh looking forward. More
Yeah.
like big band or you know, especially catered to Brazilian music kind of environments.
I
Yeah.
see. What is your ultimate goal
Hmm.
in your career?
Hmm. Especially because um, the album, you know, is started to be like my number one priority. It's hard not to think about being a full-time artist, you know, and songwriter,
I see.
and building what comes with all of that. But I definitely want to pursue that as well. But I'm also very open to, you know, playing with others and doing gigs in that scenario, and like working, you know, with arrangements and for other musicians as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I really just want to be involved in actively making music in a especially if it's in a arrangement standpoint. If
Yeah.
it's my music, if it's other people's music, I just want to, you know, make things, you know, like
Mhm.
compose and write. I feel like that's my biggest goal, to like be able to do that in every shape that it presents itself to me in a way.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
And you do that why? Why do you want to be the one that arranges and be involved in the music shared to others? Why do you
Mm.
feel like that's important?
I feel like, you know, we have a limited time here, and I don't know, and like I respect all beliefs, but I'm not sure if there is something afterwards. You
Yeah.
know what I
We
mean?
never know what
Yeah.
happens after.
So in the process of making, you know, things, that's the key word for me. Like with arrangement, you're like creating, you know.
Mhm.
Even though you're not the composer, you're still like making things and you know, creating the everything that comes with arranging. But I feel like that's the ultimate goal for me, is to just make things and make the world, like even in like small scales, like different and hopefully better than I left it, you know.
Because I feel like sometimes life gets like too much, and music is something that, you know, it's able to kind of like make us feel, I wouldn't say better, I would say makes us experience what it means to be a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. That's,
No,
that's how I feel about it. But like,
Mhm.
that's, yeah, and that's beautiful that you're doing that. I'm so excited to hear this
Oh.
new album.
No, I'm excited to show everyone. Like it's been a very special project.
And I mean,
Hmm.
I heard some stuff of
Hmm.
your new album at
Hmm.
the, you performed at some venues.
Yeah, at the Lily Pen last
Yeah.
semester. Yeah.
And so I heard, you know, and it was just so beautiful. You know, you
Thank
had
so much.
Sam in the drums, Tom in the
Mhm.
keys. You had Garo playing flute. I just
Yeah,
fell in
Vitorino
love.
on bass, also killing it.
Who
Yeah,
else is
Vitorino on
Vitorian
bass.
on bass? You were on guitar. Was it another guitar?
Oh yeah, we had cause that's sorry, cause that's the main band, but we like, it was a great time because we also had Joey on the guitar, who plays for Manu as well.
Perfect.
And we had Josh playing the cello for us. Like
Yes, that's true.
yeah, so like yeah, it was just a great time with all those lovely people. Yeah.
It was just so beautiful, and I wanted to ask you, how was kind of like that process of, because I know like you formed this band with your friends, but I wanted to ask you, how was that process of actually like arranging like a whole show? How was like the set list, and how was like getting the venue and like get everything going on
Mhm.
time?
Yeah, the venue. I was invited to play by the lovely Julia
Mhm.
Aronovich. Uh, she had a bill and invited us to make some music with her. So that's like the venue part. Like the organizational logistics wise, that was mainly with her. Just like rehearsing for the show. It wasn't very like, it wasn't a very like exclusive kind of scenario, like in the context of what we were doing, because we were already like rehearsing and playing the songs for a long time. So
Mhm.
we already felt comfortable like playing them in a set. And so it was just a process of reuniting everybody again, and you know running through everything. And with a great addition of Joey, we played a cover called Trem Azul by Lo Borges, which we did our own version, like all collaboratively.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a very, like, I couldn't ask for a better group of people to do this with, because it was like, wasn't that complicated. It
Mhm.
was a very seamless kind of situation.
That's really good to hear.
Hmm.
Do you really plan on performing live anytime soon?
Definitely. I need to see with everybody from the band, like all their availability and stuff. But I'm definitely
Mhm.
planning on doing like a couple of gigs, along the semesters. But for now, the sole focus is getting everything recorded and
I see.
to release. Because I also want to like, after the gig is over, I want the people to still listen to at least some of the things that were played.
I
So
see.
yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest struggle and how that you had to overcome over the past 2 years? It could be related to this album. It could be related to anything like in your career, through studying music. And how did you overcome it? Or did you overcome it?
I don't know if you share this experience, but I think we overcome things as they go along, and but there's always something,
Like there's always a struggle that
there,
you
there,
need to
there-
overcome.
there's always
Yeah.
something afterwards. The biggest like overall thing that I could say is just just all to do with like, believing that, only you can do what you can do, and that goes for everybody, and that you deserve to be here, and to make music, and to, be alongside all these, wonderful musicians, and especially learn a lot from them. Because especially, when you get here to Berkeley, you were just blown away by the like the exceptionalism that you see here,
Yeah.
So it's very easy to at least for me, it's very easy to like put myself down because of that.
I see.
So yeah, no, was definitely like the biggest like thing, just not trying to be better than others, but making what you do unique and authentic, so that you're kind of the best at what you do, because only you do it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like we all go through that thing of like kind of like you see a lot of good people, and you're like, sometimes it's intimidating.
Yeah.
But now talking about like seeing other people and what they're doing and all of that. Now that you mentioned that, I have a few questions about like, because I feel like we were talking before recording, and with the production team, and and we were talking about how like now it's like you do your music, and you're working on your album, but it's not just that, it's the marketing of the album, which is a pain in the ass, and we all know it.
Oh, so can we swear on here?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
I feel like okay.
I've been speaking like very like trying to be all polite and very cozy.
Very cozy. Yes. I feel like since we're recording this, the first episode didn't even came up yet. So that's why everyone here is like first episode, but
say
then
the right
I should like make this clear first. But yeah, you can.
That's great.
But yeah, coming back to the marketing part.
Yeah.
So it's just so frustrating, right? Especially because and I imagine you are all about the creative process, like the music, the arranging and everything. Marketing is just kind of like that thing that you kind of just you don't like. So how are you planning on marketing this album? And because I feel like when we plan on marketing, we have this tendency of what are the trends, what are other people doing to market their stuff, and we kind of want to copy that, because we believe that's the way of achieving success inside marketing. However, I do want to ask you, what is your plan on marketing this album, and if you want to take like a different approach from kind of like what's trending right now.
Yeah, it's because like especially like first talking about like the music and how that relates to the marketing. Like I didn't really write any of the music that I wrote thinking of how I could market this. It's just like, I think I for my judgment, I think that it's good, and it's like worthy of being shared. And like, I don't know, I'm also a firm believer that, especially in music, like I've seen this video like pop up on Instagram a couple of times, that like the consumer doesn't really know what it wants, in a way. That if you can show something that's like authentic and new, like you can, like, people are gonna resonate with that if you make something that truly comes like from a not only vulnerable but from a loving place even. But towards your music, there's people are gonna resonate with it. So that's like in relation of the music and how that relates to the marketing. But marketing wise, I have no fucking idea how to market any like my album. That's I'm definitely gonna need help with that. I have our wonderful friend Gabriel on it. Like we're preparing stuff, but yeah. Especially I just want it to be all about the music, and I think that sounds kind of kind of simplistic, but because there's a lot that comes into marketing anything really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know. I'm not like, I'm not very comfortable with, you know, my my personal life and music, you know, going along with each other. I feel like those are two separate things.
Yeah.
Even though like there are some songs in the album that are coming from a very vulnerable place,
Yeah.
but still I want that to be separate in a way, because I value that, those two parts of my life in two different settings. But yeah, I like, I we're still like to figure that out, because I don't really know what to tell you, because it's I've been so focused on just like getting everything done first,
Yeah.
you know, that marketing, I think, is something to plan for the future more heavily, you know.
Yeah.
No, we're still, you know, doing, like, thinking about, okay, how we're gonna do this, but like I don't think I even have enough to show people to like market the the music that I'm doing accurately, because, you know, there's still a lot of stuff to record and to do.
Yeah.
know?
And it's good that you're getting like someone that actually likes, you know, you mentioned Gabriel.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very important. Like if you're an artist and your sole like purpose and career and you know what you do is the creative process, to get someone that actually is passionate about music and that knows about the industry is very important. A lot of times, you know, artists are like, oh, I want to do it myself and everything, and that's great, but I do believe that, you know, having a second opinion is always, you know, it's always worth it. And yeah, I'd say that that's a really good thing. And I also like that you mentioned that you want to separate like your brand from yourself, because I feel like that's a lot of it happens a lot. And I was talking to Isa, and I was actually watching this documentary on like actors and it's just like it's a problem, because many times you begins to be so consumed by your work that you kind of just lose yourself in the process, right? And you're like, but who am I? Like, no, you're not like this pop artist. You're also a person who has a life and has your family. And so, and sometimes you get lost, especially when you like start getting into the industry and people start getting to know you. But I really like the fact that you have this intelligence of being like, no, this ain't happening.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, like, while you were saying that that also reflects in my lyrics and the way that I write. There are only, I think, 2 songs that I wrote that are involved in this project that are on the first person, you know, talking about like me.
Oh,
you know, all the
I
other
see.
lyrics are more, they're all on the third person, as if I'm like talking or as if I'm like reflecting. So like very few things other than, you know, like the concepts and the ideas behind the music are like generally speaking about like me, Eduardo, and not just me like a person, you know, thinking about stuff. If that makes any sense.
Wait, so you're saying like the rest of the, but is it like in third person then?
Yeah, mostly.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. I see.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
But,
I have one more question for you. What would you say is a really good piece of advice that you can give others in your position, like other arrangers, other like musicians, you know, whether you play something, you sing for others, you sing for yourself, you arrange for yourself or for others, whatever. What is the piece of advice that you would give to these people?
like, it's gonna sound like really basic, but just be a nice, loving person to those around you. I feel like, especially in professional settings, if you're like a good, you know, good company, and, you know, like good to collaborate, and just like easygoing, things are less stressful, even for you, you know. If you're able to not even like detach yourself, but just be able to like to go with the flow with a lot of things, because like sometimes things are not gonna go your way,
Yeah.
Like that's just, you know, shit happens too,
Yeah.
you know. So just like be able to adapt to the situation you're in and not make the situation adapt to you. I feel like that. That's my advice.
That is so beautiful, especially in this industry. That could be really tough. Like there's people that are really mean, and
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're like being nice goes a long way, and that's like for sure. And you know, like, you know, I've seen it, and I've heard stories about, like, you know, people kind of like abusing of their power in a professional setting and all of that. Um, but I do believe that if you just keep on being nice, you know, that's on them. Like
Mhm.
you're doing your stuff and you're nice, and you know, that's beautiful.
Thank you. No,
But yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
no, thank you. Like this is great. Like, thank you for, you know, giving me a chance to talk about, you know, the stuff that I'm working on. It's, you know, always a great time to see you.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so grateful that you were able to be here today. And I cannot wait for the album to come out.
Thank you
And
so
yeah,
much.
stay tuned for the new album.
Stay tuned. Fique esperto.